How's it going, everybody? My name's Archangel VX, and this is my review for God of War Ragnarok. Now, you people watching, you guys seem like calm and reasonable people. Are you calm and reasonable? Because if you are, you should consider subscribing to my channel. I've been doing a ton of Let's Plays recently, and this is my very first review. I've been wanting to do review style videos for a while now, so this is gonna be like brand new to me. So forgive me if it's not the greatest thing you've ever seen in the world, but to anybody that does watch, I would like some sort of feedback, constructive. Don't just type in the comments like, oh, you suck. Because if you do, well, you're going to meet my mighty hammer. So, without further ado, let's jump into it.
What was that?
The ball.
God of War Ragnarok is an amazing game. It's fun, it's emotional, and it's such a beautiful game as well. The game starts off a few years where we left off in God of War 2018. Atreus is older. He's more independent. He's more confident, and he's continuing on this path to find out what his destiny is, who Loki is, and then Kratos being, well, Kratos, overprotective as usual, and at the same time he's trying to prepare Atreus for the coming war with Asgard. As the story goes on, they do butt heads a bit. Atreus' persistence on finding out who Loki is starts to infuriate Kratos.
But what if Loki going to Ironwood is the only way that...
Oh, Atreus. My son. And nothing more. Do you hear me?
The looming prophecy of Kratos' death is also talked about heavily in the game. They do butt heads about that as well.
We follow your every whim.
But you don't believe in any of it.
And still I follow. Because all that matters is that you are safe.
But that's not all that matters. Who's keeping you safe?
I do not need you to protect me.
You sure about that?
And then alongside returning characters, we finally have the introduction of Thor. We have Odin, we have Freyr, Angrboda, and a few other characters. And they really do bring more to the story. Seeing Thor and Odin's family dynamics, and same with Freya and Freyr, a brother-sister. Angrboda helping Atreus, or should I say Loki. My favorite characters besides Thor is definitely Odin. Throughout the story, you can definitely see how much of a manipulator he is. From his first introduction, he's, comes in trying to be this menacing force, tries to sweet talk Kratos out of going to war with them. And then as the story goes on, he's a super sweet, nice guy to Atreus, aka Loki, trying to bring quote-unquote peace while he figures out what's beyond Ragnarok. His whole motive for everything that he's done is to look inside this rift that's in Asgard with this mask. And with it, it will give him the answers as to what comes next for him, what's beyond him, basically.
I need to know there's something more than this. I need to know what happens to me.
The gameplay is pretty similar to the original. You have your Leviathan axe and you have your Blades of Chaos. You do have some additional weapons which I won't touch on in this review. I want to try and keep it a bit of a secret for now. The only difference is unarmed doesn't have its own skill tree. They for some reason removed it from this game, which I've seen some people were upset about. I actually like the unarmed combat as well. You still get the Guardian shield from the original game, but this time, as you can see, you have various other shields. My personal favorite is the Stonewall shield. This shield blocks, I believe, most attacks. As you hold it and enemies attack it, it'll fill up a bar, and then you can slam it on the ground and it'll send them flying upwards. Each shield has its own unique ability, so really depending on your playstyle. Gameplay wise, Atreus is pretty much the same as the last game. He uses his bow, he has his unique animal runic attacks. There is some other surprises involving Atreus, which I will let you figure out for yourself. But one thing I will say, however, is that you can actually play as him. His combat is vastly different from Kratos. He's not as strong. He has his own movement, his own combat style, which is actually pretty exciting and kind of refreshing to play as him. I mean, I still preferred playing as Kratos, but it was definitely a surprising and a nice touch. He does have his own like magical shield. He does get various different unique abilities as you play as him, and it's really exciting and just it's really cool being able to see the world and play the game through his eyes. And here's a little funny bit from playing as him in the game.
The chest.
Not so easy, huh?
Shut up!
I will say that there is a bit of a wider variety in the enemies. You still have your Draugr, you have the Dark Elves. Now you have to fight Light Elves. You fight these creatures like I've shown with the shield that were in Svartalfheim. Every now and then there is an occasional boss repeat, but it's not as prominent like the trolls were in the last game. You do fight some trolls from time to time, but they're more side quest enemies, I would say. There is a troll that you encounter during the main story, but Kratos basically one-shots him, so it's not really a boss. Even the bosses that we do get repeats of, like the Dreki, we fight them a few times throughout the main story. It wasn't as bad as the trolls, so they definitely learned their lesson from spamming us with troll fights every 2 seconds in the last game. And now we get to talk about the things that I didn't like in God of War Ragnarok. When you get attacked by certain enemies and you get poisoned, you're on fire, or when you fight I'm gonna butcher their name, the Inherijar, the Asgard soldiers with the Bifrost attacks, every single time. Kratos, look out, you're on fire, and it's like, yeah, I could see Kratos is on fire right now. I could see my health dwindling away. As I burn because of their attacks. It gets so frustrating. You'll fight through a bunch of enemies. They'll say, watch out, you're on fire. You'll go to the next, couple clicks away. Then it's like more fights. Kratos, look out, you're on fire. And it's just like, yeah, we know. I could see. It's just like, I don't know why. Maybe they're trying, I don't know if they're trying to just make the game more accessible. That's a good thing though. Accessibility is a good thing. But when it's like really annoying, at that point you might as well just have the enemies go, watch out, Kratos is throwing his axe. Wait a minute, he's doing that elemental attack with his axe. Well, wait a minute, he's in rage form, look out. Like, it doesn't need to like be spammed every 2 seconds in combat. The one mission where you go to Jotunheim with Atreus
Excuse me?
and you meet Angrboda, half of that mission was just filler. It was just, let's go collect some fruit. Oh, there's a den of monsters, let's go kill it. It's just half of that stuff that happened in that mission. We could have just left that as like side quests, like later on or something. It didn't need to be a part of the main story. It did drag on a little bit. Another thing that I and I guess most people would agree on too is the constant hand-holding during puzzles. There's times where, you know, you'd walk into an area, you would, you know, start to look around, and your companion would just spoil the puzzle for you. And it's like, oh, thanks. I literally just walked into the room and, you know, trying to get my bearings on the area. But thank you for spoiling it for me. And I'm not the best at puzzles. I will say I do need help sometimes, but I at least want to attempt it. Having my companion, oh, you need to do this, and then do this, and then do this. It's like, oh, thanks, yeah. You know, I could have figured it out after a few minutes. If not, then I could have just looked it up, but... You know, thank you for... thank you for spoiling it for me. Now it's time for the part where I give God of War Ragnarok a rating. I would say a 10 out of 10. Like, this is definitely my game of the year for 2022. If you've enjoyed the God of War series, you enjoyed 2018 especially, then you will love Ragnarok. You know, obviously some issues here and there that I've found personally. I'm sure anybody else that's reviewed the game has their own personal dislikes of the game. But overall, I think this game's a masterpiece, and I'm really excited for what's next in the God of War series. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watching the review. Let me know what you think about the game in the comments below. And I will see you guys next video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Version of you, but I am not my sons. And your boy, Allfather, have plans for him.